Welcome, everyone. I'm your host, and today we are doing a deep dive into some source material that, honestly, it just refuses to make sense.
Hey there, I'm the resident expert for this deep dive. And yeah, you're right. Normally we can trace the origins of wealth, right?
Right, like, you build a tech company, you inherit a grocery chain, there's a paper trail.
Exactly. You can see the actual value that was created.
But today, we're looking at what you could call the Epstein paradox. We're talking about a guy who was a college dropout, a fired high school math teacher.
Yeah.
And yet, somehow, he ends up with a net worth estimated between $560 and $600 million.
It's pure financial smoke and mirrors.
I mean, he owned two private islands in the Caribbean worth $86 million, a Manhattan townhouse worth $77 million. He even had a Boeing 727.
Federal prosecutors actually described him as a man of nearly infinite means. But if you ask Wall Street how Jeffrey Epstein made his money,
You get a lot of blank stares.
you get guesses. 10 different experts will give you 10 different answers.
So that's our mission today. We are going to try to reverse engineer this fortune using the sources we've got. Court documents, financial filings, and some very recent, very explosive political reports.
We really need to unpack whether he was a secret financial genius, a master blackmailer, or just a guy who failed upwards spectacularly.
And we absolutely have to talk about the political firestorm happening right now, the whole situation with the Epstein files.
Right, because there have been a lot of disappointments recently regarding government transparency on this.
Huge disappointments. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's start at the beginning. Because his resume, it's wild.
It really is an improbable rise. He was born in Brooklyn. His dad was a park groundskeeper. And he was clearly a smart kid. He gets into Cooper Union, then he transfers to NYU.
But he drops out of both,
He does. He never earns a college degree.
which, in the world of high finance, is usually an immediate deal breaker.
Completely.
Yet somehow he lands a job teaching math and physics at the Dalton School. That's one of the most elite prep schools in Manhattan.
Right. And he's in his early 20s with no credentials. He essentially just talks his way in. But this establishes a pattern. He doesn't last. He gets dismissed after a couple of years for, quote, poor performance.
Poor performance. I love how vague that is.
It covers a lot. But while he was at Dalton, he was networking. He tutored the son of Alan Greenberg.
Ace Greenberg, the
Yeah.
legendary chairman of Bear Stearns.
Exactly. And this is his first massive leap, the one that defies logic. Greenberg hires this fired, degreeless school teacher for an entry-level job at Bear Stearns.
Which is crazy on its own.
And then Epstein becomes a limited partner in 4 years.
4 years.
4 years.
I know people with MBAs who are still fetching coffee after 4 years. How do you make partner at a major investment bank that fast?
By being aggressive.
Yeah.
And he found this niche in tax sheltering for the ultra-wealthy. But, true to form, he crashed just as fast. In 1981, he's pushed out.
And the official reasons given to the SEC were pretty colorful, right?
Yeah, it wasn't just poor performance this time. He cited irregularities with his expense account. He lent money to a friend to buy stock, which is a massive compliance violation.
Right.
And there were rumors of an affair with his secretary.
So he just ignores the rules, plays with company money, and mixes business with pleasure.
That's the Epstein playbook right there. He gains access to these elite circles without the credentials and then operates completely in the gray areas.
Okay, so he's out at Bear Stearns. He decides to hang his own shingle. J. Epstein and Company. And this is where he starts telling everyone, I don't get out of bed for less than $1 billion.
He claimed he would only take clients with a net worth of $1 billion or more.
Which is a bold marketing strategy considering how few billionaires there were back then.
In the early 80s, Forbes estimated there were fewer than 500 in the entire world.
So he's creating this extreme artificial scarcity.
Exactly. If he says he only takes billionaires, then all the millionaires who want to feel important suddenly want to hire him.
But what was the reality of the firm?
We have a corporate filing from 2002 that shows his firm only had about $88 million in contributions and only 20 employees.
88 million. I mean, for a normal person, that's a lot. But for a titan of Wall Street,
It's a rounding error.
the media was saying he had a staff of 150.
Total myth.
Eh.
But he did need some actual cash to fund the lifestyle. The jets don't pay for themselves. And that brings us to the Ponzi scheme.
Stephen Hoffenberg.
Right. The CEO of Towers Financial. This ended up being one of the largest Ponzi schemes in history. Hoffenberg hires Epstein, pays him $25,000 a month, and calls him his wingman.
And didn't Hoffenberg literally call him the mastermind of the whole thing?
He did. He said Epstein designed the financial engineering. But when it all collapsed, Hoffenberg went to prison for 18 years.
And Epstein.
Never charged. He walked away scot-free.
He's like Teflon. He's standing right there when it explodes and doesn't get a scratch. But even siphoning some Ponzi money doesn't buy you a private island. So we have to look at the one actual whale he landed.
Les Wexner, the guy behind L Brands, Victoria's Secret.
He was the one confirmed billionaire client. And the relationship was baffling. Wexner gave him full power of attorney.
Total control. Epstein could buy and sell property, sign checks, move assets. And there's this key anomaly in the source material. Wexner transferred a massive Manhattan mansion, the one on 71st Street, to Epstein.
This is the $77 million townhouse.
Yes, the recorded payment for that transfer. Zero.
Zero. He just gave him a $77 million house. That does not happen.
It doesn't. And later, after the fallout, Wexner accused Epstein of misappropriating $36 million.
Wow. Okay, so we've got Ponzi connections and siphoned retail money, but there's another bucket of wealth here. The billionaire enablers paying him fees.
And this brings us to Leon Black of Apollo Global Management. This is the most absurd number in the entire deep dive. Black paid Epstein $158 million.
For what?
He claimed it was for tax advice and estate planning.
Okay, let's do the math on that. If you hire the best Ivy League tax lawyer in New York, they charge, what, $2,000 an hour?
Give or take.
So to bill $158 million at $2,000 an hour, you'd have to work almost 80,000 hours.
It's impossible.
Why would Leon Black, a billionaire with an army of actual lawyers, pay a college dropout that kind of money for tax advice?
Black's defense was that Epstein added $2 billion in value to his fortune. And even after Epstein was convicted in 2008, Black maintained the relationship. He said he believed in second chances.
$158 million is a very expensive second chance.
It suggests the product wasn't really tax advice. It was discretion. It was operating this fog of speculation. Epstein used his social connections, like Glenn Dubin, another billionaire, to broker deals and wash his reputation.
If you're seen at the right parties, people just assume you're legitimate.
Exactly. He leveraged social credibility to create financial legitimacy.
Speaking of credibility, we have to pivot to the political fallout. It's early 2026. Donald Trump returned to office in January.
And he appointed fierce loyalists to key DOJ and intelligence roles. Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino.
And the sources show there was this massive expectation from the Maguire base that the Epstein files were finally going to be released to take down the quote-unquote deep state.
That was the narrative. The expectation was that we'd finally get the client list and the blackmail evidence, but the anticlimax was stunning.
The DOJ and the FBI come out and announce nothing.
Right. They stated there is no client list, no blackmail evidence, and they officially reconfirmed the suicide ruling.
And to make it worse, the FBI released footage from the jail cell that sources described as clearly doctored.
It was a disaster for that base. You have Kash Patel and Pam Bondi, their guys, delivering this nothing to see here narrative.
The irony is pretty thick. It's fueled even more conspiracy theories.
Absolutely. The sources touch on the Israeli intelligence theory, which people like Tucker Carlson and Stephen Hoffenberg promoted. The idea that Epstein was running a honeypot operation, wiring the island bedrooms with hidden cameras to blackmail powerful people.
Which, if true, would explain why nobody in Washington actually wants these files out.
Mutually assured destruction.
Exactly. And we have to talk about Trump's personal connection to Epstein, because they had a 15-year friendship.
They were very close. Trump famously gave a quote in 2002 saying, Epstein was a terrific guy who likes beautiful women as much as he does.
A quote that has definitely haunted him. But they eventually had a massive falling out over a piece of Palm Beach real estate.
The Maison de l'Amitié auction. They both wanted this waterfront mansion. Epstein tried to use a technicality about title insurance to get Trump disqualified from the bidding.
But Trump was listening on speakerphone the whole time.
Right. Trump hears the whole scheme, steps in, and wins the auction for $41 million. He later flipped it for a massive profit.
And Trump claims that's when he banned Epstein from Mar-a-Lago, because of a real estate slight.
Although Epstein's brother claims Epstein was the one who cut Trump off because he thought Trump was a crook.
The pot calling the kettle black. But you see how the scandal hurts everyone. You've got the Clinton flight logs on one side, the long Trump friendship on the other. It's radioactive for both parties.
It really is.
So let me ask you this. Strip away the politics and the Ponzi schemes. Was Epstein actually good at investing? Like, if you look at his investor scorecard, Did he have a golden touch?
It's a really mixed bag. Mostly failures, actually. Look at Bear Stearns. He held on to his stock all the way through the 2008 collapse.
He didn't sell before the crash.
He sold the last 120,000 shares for pennies, roughly $3 a share. He rode it all the way to the bottom.
Ouch.
And he sold a property to Howard Lutnick, the Cantor Fitzgerald CEO, at a 65% discount. It's not what financial geniuses do.
But there was one massive win in the portfolio.
Valar Ventures. This is fascinating. Back in 2015 or 2016, he made an early investment in Peter Thiel's fintech fund.
And how much is that worth now?
According to the estate, it's worth around $170 million. It is the largest single asset left in his estate.
That is wild. He loses his shirt on Bear Stearns, but hits a grand slam with Peter Thiel.
It just adds to the confusion. It's so inconsistent.
So the man is dead. The firm is gone. Where did all this money go? Who is managing the estate?
Well, 2 days before he died, he created the 1953 trust.
Named after his birth year.
Right. And trusts like that are designed for absolute secrecy. We don't know who all the beneficiaries are. We know an ex-girlfriend is involved and the two executors.
But they've been paying out settlements, haven't they?
They have. The money trail shows they paid $164 million to victims.
So the account should be running dry.
You'd think so. But there is still over $200 million sitting in that estate.
How is that even possible?
Because the estate got a massive boost from the IRS. They received a tax refund for $111.6 million.
Wait, the IRS cut a 9-figure check to Jeffrey Epstein's estate.
They did. His accountants likely carried back massive financial losses to offset previous taxes. So despite everything, the money is protected.
So the files are a dead end. The government says there's nothing to see. The money is washed into a private trust in the Virgin Islands, and the IRS hands them $100 million.
The core mechanics of his wealth remain totally opaque. The billionaires paid for quote-unquote advice, he likely misappropriated funds, and he got lucky on one tech investment.
It's incredibly frustrating for you, the listener, I'm sure. The system that allowed him to rise, this world of opaque finance and zero due diligence from the elite, it really hasn't changed at all.
Not one bit.
Which brings me to a final thought for you to mull over. We always focus on the blackmail tapes. But maybe the true value of Epstein's advice was simply identifying the moral flexibility of his clients. He tested who would look the other way, and once he knew you'd bend the rules for a tax shelter, he knew he had you.
That's a dark thought, but it fits the pattern perfectly.
Well, if you want to rely on actual intelligence instead of smoke and mirrors, you should check out Brilliant. They sponsor the source material we dug into today.
Yeah, if Epstein had actually taken a brilliant course on logic or probability, maybe he wouldn't have held that Bear Stearns stock to the bitter end.
Seriously. Brilliant is fantastic for building real problem-solving skills, whether it's math, data science, or critical thinking. It's the exact opposite of the fake-it-till-you-make-it grift we just spent 20 minutes talking about. Learning how systems genuinely work is your best defense against people selling financial fairy tales.
I couldn't agree more. Do the math yourself. Don't just trust the narrative.
That wraps up this deep dive. Thank you so much for joining us on this really wild ride through the Epstein paradox.
Thanks for listening.